You know that yearning you feel? You know that emptiness that you start to feel on Monday, but then all of a sudden things become better? You know why? Because you have a brand new episode of The Mike Sasson Show. My name is Mike Sasson. I am the host of this beautiful expression of love and gratitude and compassion and love of all things weird and wacky and wonderful. And over there is my co-host, my producer, the person who really is the talent, the brains of the operation. It is Internet Radio Hall of Famer, first ballot Internet Radio Hall of Famer, Alex Clemens. Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mike.
There you go. She's
wonderful.
The enthusiasm is contagious. It's filtering into your pores right now because there's many ways you could be listening to this show. You could be listening to us on the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com, where you get the best local music and the best talk. It's proven by science. Also, you might be listening to us on any of the podcast formats, either iTunes, SoundCloud, or Google Play, or you could be listening to us live Tuesday at 9 a.m. on the TuneIn Radio app across the planet Earth. Any human being really with access to internet can listen to this show.
That is very true, Mike.
It's insane to think that some of the most influential people in the history of mankind did not have the mechanism to communicate like you and I do, Alex.
Yeah.
And yet we just use it to more or less just talk about like tacos and boobs.
Tacos and boobs.
That's, by the way.
All day, every day.
All day, every day, it is tacos and boobs. By the way, that'd be a great name for a bar. I'd go to that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
If you just be like, hey, on Mount Washington, they opened up tacos and boobs.
Is it a strip club that sells tacos, or it's just called tacos and boobs? Is it like a Hooters for tacos?
Yeah, I think it would be like a Hooters. The funny thing about it, Hooters is kind of going downhill because when it first opened, everyone heard about it. It was down in Florida where all like trashy things kind of start.
Right.
And like everyone heard about this bar where it had chicken wings and it had sports on TV, and all the waitresses were like in really tight-fitting, outfits and stuff like that. And then when one came to Pittsburgh, like I was like 15, 16 years old, all my buddies, we went down there because we were like, oh my gosh, they finally got a Hooters. Coolest thing ever. And we went, and it was just, it was chicken wings and, soda and beer and all that kind of stuff. And we were like, okay, this is fine. But I think what people think it's because people don't want to look at boobs anymore. No, it's because of the fact that people have so much access to sports. The whole concept of a sports bar is kind of like it doesn't really exist.
Oh, I thought you were going to say people care a little bit more about women now. So
no,
that's why it
not at all.
Exist.
We saw that in recent news stories that is not true. I think it's more just the case of you used to be able to justify it to the women in your life that you'd go to Hooters. Be like, oh, well, I have to watch the game because it's the only place where they've got a satellite dish. Now everybody has 365,000 channels. Like on Sunday with the NFL, like I'll be watching the Steeler game, and then on my phone, because I have Verizon, I watch NFL Red Zone, which is incredible, which is... everything should just model itself after NFL Red Zone.
Because it's just like the good parts, right?
It's just essentially when they're about to score.
Right.
And so no commercials, no anything. It's just everything good.
Yeah.
Every movie should be that way. Every sort of like life experience should be that way. Just get me to the good part.
Yeah.
Get me to the part that I'm interested in. The part where they're going to score. That's what we want.
I might like sports small amounts more if that's how they were.
Yeah, no more beer commercials, no more, shots of the city skyline. You only get that when they do Steeler games. They always show a picture of the Steelers of the skyline. They're like, that's Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's not a festering, pile of slag heap. And people like, I can't imagine anybody to this day doesn't understand that downtown Pittsburgh is an attractive looking thing.
Oh, no. People still don't understand. I have people come into my store all the time that are like, yeah, I had to come here for work, and I was not at all happy about it because I thought it was like a huge shithole still. I'm like, no, it's just a little bit of a shithole.
Yeah, well, it's as much a shithole as pretty much any place.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really what Pittsburgh is. Pittsburgh is as big a shithole as pretty much any other place.
Yeah.
Everything sucks for some reason.
Right.
Like, I've had this speech before. Everything sucks for one reason or another. And really, it takes your attitude. Some things are great. Like, certain cities get a bad rap. Like, we both discussed that Buffalo gets a bad rap.
Yeah.
And I've had great times in Buffalo. You've had great times in Buffalo. Good people, good food. You know, yeah, it gets a little cold, but you know what? Toughen up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing with Cleveland. I've had great times in Cleveland. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
The only place I've never had a good time, really, to be honest with you, Philadelphia.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I was about to say it.
Yeah, the only city that really, you go there and you're just like, yeah, this is way worse than I described.
You go there and you're like, okay, I'm ready to leave.
Yeah, there's nothing
Get me
here.
out of here.
Yeah, this is really just a stop to where I should just continue to go and just go to D.C. or New York.
Yeah.
So that's, well, again, that's our tourist. We were just paid by the Visit Pittsburgh people to sit there and say that, hey,
we're not a shithole.
We're not a shithole.
That should be our slogan, I think.
That is, we're not a shithole. Well, one thing I always hate is, like, there are open mics in, like, the Strip District.
Yeah.
And people are walking around the Strip District at, like, 10 o'clock at night on a Tuesday, and they're like, oh, what's going on? And I'm just like, you're clearly in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Go to the Lawrenceville, go to the South Side, go to Squirrel Hill. You're not in the right place.
Yeah, nothing's happening.
Yeah. You're
on a Tuesday.
Yeah. Saturday morning, absolutely. Great place to be.
Yeah.
That's where a front desk person really makes their money. Is like at a hotel. Is when you sit there and be like, I'm going to get you an Uber. You're going to go to Lawrenceville. You're going to have a good time.
Right.
Don't be walking around the Strip District because you're going to think you're going to see like a cool Italian, bistro. No, that closed at like,
You're
4
not.
p.m.
It's basically just a lot of scary people.
It's a lot of warehouses at that point.
Yeah, except that one Irish bar.
Yeah.
Down in the Strip.
Yeah.
That place is always hopping, like every day of the week.
Well, it's because it's Irish. People just are digging, drinking, eating.
Yeah, and they do like
pie.
cute dancing and stuff. Oh my God, it's the most adorable place in the whole world.
I'm just a huge fan of just the. See, I was trying to kill the bugs without letting the people understand that we were.
Oh,
covered in
really?
gnats.
Really?
Yeah. Did you see me just go like that? So people.
I think it was a little more intense than that, and I think that people would understand what you were doing. You weren't just making weird. You were like gestures.
Die, bug, die.
I never did that.
You did that. You looked and you had the ferocity of 1,000 suns, and you sat there and you just started killing all of the gnats.
No, anyways. I still didn't get it either.
I know. Well, we'll fight through it. That's what we do here at the River's Edge. We fight through it because we're those type of people. Another type of people we are people that love comedy.
Yes, we are those people.
We are people that love comedy. And Louis C.K., two things happened in the world of comedy that I thought was interesting. Louis C.K. did another set at the Comedy Cellar.
Okay.
He still didn't address in his comedy the whole, why he for the last year hasn't been around. The whole forcing women to watch him masturbate type deal.
Yeah, that whole thing.
That whole thing.
That little thing. Yeah.
Which is, it's like when you meet someone and they're doing comedy for the first time and they've got something obvious about them and then they do like 10 minutes and they don't even touch it and you get so angry at them.
What would be that obvious thing?
For what?
Like, can you give me an example?
If someone's differently abled. Like, we had a bunch of blind comics and they never mentioned being blind.
Gotcha.
If that's your defining characteristic, you're blind. That's the one thing that you have above all other comics. Milk that.
Yeah.
You should have like 10 minutes minimal on being blind. Louis C.K. should already have 25 minutes on what the hell he's been doing for the past year.
Right.
What the hell was he thinking? What was the worst part? What was the, I think that's why there's certain people that are upset that he even still doing comedy. But I think there's a percentage of people that are just upset that he's not even touching the subject.
Yeah.
He's just kind of ignoring it. Like, according to reports, he did one thing about, he was talking about his daughter, who's like 9 years old, was wearing provocative outfits or something.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, okay.
Go on.
Go on. You get to the whole thing of why you had to stop being popular for a year, Louis.
Yeah.
And so people are very upset with the fact that, like last year, not last year, but like a couple months ago when he first came out, there were people that are upset that they weren't informed. They weren't informed that Louis C.K. was going to show up. Because he did what's called a drop-in.
Yeah.
And they did it again. He just kind of like, hey, we have a special guest, see you, Louis C.K. And what I thought was interesting was, in response, the owner of the Comedy Cellar in New York City had a sign that he put up, and it says, swim at your own risk. It says, we never know who's going to pop in. If an unannounced appearance is not your cup of tea, you are free to leave. Unobtrusively, please. No questions asked. Your check is on the house. Which I could see just somebody sitting there just being like a cheap SOB and sitting there going, oh, yeah, I know that guy. He's a scumbag. Get me out of here. And then all of a sudden he just walks out on a check.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just one of those things that cover their own butts.
Yeah, I hear you. But now let me ask you a question. You have been a consumer of comedy. You've been to several comedy shows.
Yeah.
You have been to several comedy open mics.
Yeah.
What percentage of the comedians were you sitting there and you ever said to yourself, okay, what that person said really offends me?
No, I don't think that's ever happened. Typically, the only time I've been in an open mic and I don't really enjoy it fully is because of the audience. Like, there's someone in the audience and then the comedian, like, is trying to defend themselves against that person. I just hate it. It's just like, I don't like any kind of confrontation, you know? So, but no comedian has ever said anything that has offended me to where I would want to leave.
And even when they're quote unquote bad, you're still enjoying it because it's like, oh, that's interesting. You tried your best kind of deal.
Yeah. It's never, I don't know. I never hate it.
So there was that instance. And then another thing that happened this past week was Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay.
Jimmy Kimmel is opening up with Caesar's Palace, is going to open up a comedy club in his hometown in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And so when he was announcing it, one of the news outlets, I think it was The Hollywood Reporter, asked him and said, well, are you going to essentially do your best to make sure that you have a very diverse lineup? And essentially what he said was, no, I'm just going to have the best comedians there. I would never want to have a female comedian think that they got on because of their, because they were female. So this is the full thing. It says comedy is very democratic. The people who are great rise to the top. The people who are good rise to the middle. And the people who aren't good don't make it. And so he's basically saying, no, all we're going to do is just put the funniest people on there.
Right.
And because women are funny and because gay people are funny and everyone's funny, we'll have a diverse, because we're not going to be trying for it, but it'll just happen because that's just what'll happen. Yeah. A lot of people got upset with that because they just basically said, this is one person said, it's not true. Just because you have commercial success, what is success to him? There are so many great weirdo comics that may never have heard. Having money and support makes things easier. He wants to believe he deserves where he is. That doesn't
really have anything to do with what he was talking about, though.
And then another person sat there and said, more or less it says, in my own life, this is Linda Holmes. She wrote, she goes, in my own life, I think it's like turning up the levels in your microphone, not because other people aren't speaking at the same volumes, but because you don't hear all the frequencies well. You have to make specific efforts to hear across a spectrum. Then another says, even for men, it isn't a meritocracy. If by merit you mean who's the funniest, it's about who is best at playing the self-promotion game, who's best at schmoozing, who's best at marketing. No club anywhere in the country wants the funniest comics. They want the one that brings the most people, which is fair since they're a business. But to say it's about who's the funniest is just untrue. When I was doing stand-up, I knew lots of very funny people who didn't get anywhere because they didn't have that part of the equation. So, again, there's two parts to that. One was the whole Louis C.K. thing where basically, a comedy club is now saying, hey, we don't know who's going to drop in, and if you want to leave, you can leave. And then Jimmy Kimmel is basically saying, hey, in our things to the comedy club, we're not going to be openly trying to be diverse. It'll just happen because comedy is a meritocracy, and then a bunch of people say, no, it's not. It's who can schmooze the best, or, basically some people can't hear across spectrums, and so all this kind of stuff.
He didn't ever say, like, how he was finding the people.
Well, he'll find the people how every comedy club finds people.
Yeah,
They'll just.
but I mean, he didn't say that he was necessarily, like, the best comedians, as in, like, the best, like, and well-known comedians. Like, they could be the best comedians, but no one knows about them. He didn't say anything about that.
He just basically said that he wasn't worried about the fact that the comedy club is not going to have enough diversity, because he said that comedy is a world in which the funniest rise to the top.
Right, yeah.
And he doesn't have to worry about that because women are funny, everyone's funny, so it'll just happen that way.
Yeah.
Here's what I would sit there and say about all of this. First and foremost, what does a comedy club owe its audience?
Yeah.
I would say a comedy club owes its audience what the audience wants. Like, for instance, in New York City, there's 257 clubs on Manhattan Island.
Yeah.
And what each one of them sells really is not necessarily the comedy connoisseur, but either the tourist or the comedy kind of, newbie.
Yeah.
They want to go to the New York Comedy Club the same way they want to eat a hot dog, the same way they want to go and take a ride on the Staten Island Ferry or see the Statue of Liberty. It's just something you do in New York City.
Right.
And the reason why it's so exciting to see what's going on in New York City comedy clubs is, okay, who is going to drop in?
Yeah.
They're not there to see the guy who or the woman who you don't know yet but is really good and has maybe been on one Colbert. They're sitting there, they're waiting for Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
They're sitting there and they're waiting for, Dave Chappelle. Every comedian or every person who watches comedy in New York City flat out always says that, I remember one night at 2 a.m, I was in the Comedy Cellar, I was in the Stand, or I was at Caroline's, and all of a sudden, Amy Schumer shows up and does 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or all of a sudden, everybody shows up and Dave Attell does 45 minutes of crush material.
Yeah.
And that's why Louis C.K. is still going in these clubs, is because he still, to the comedy outsider, is a name, and it makes it to where, like, I'm going to go to this show because maybe this is the show that he does show up to, and he starts to talk about the year. He starts to talk about what he did, masturbating and for women.
I think that's the whole thing. I think he's doing it on purpose, not talking about it so that people still, people are continually listening to his comedy anyways because they're waiting for him to talk about it. But then he'll just never talk about it. And when will people ever give up?
I think they'll get up pretty damn quick. That's the thing. I think they'll give up pretty damn quick. But and then when you talk about Jimmy Kimmel, I think what Jimmy Kimmel said was very much a utopian view of the entertainment industry. It's supposed to be the funniest people get the spots, and the best people, regardless of age, regardless of race, regardless of anything, get what they want.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's not 100% true. It's pretty much true.
Yeah.
It's like sitting there saying that, like, I learned a great thing about, like, again, I bring everything back to football. The starting center for the Baltimore Ravens, his name's Matt Skura. I coached him in middle school from his 7th through his 9th grade year.
Okay.
When I coached him, and you asked me, he says, does Matt have a chance to play in the National Football League?
Yeah.
I would have said, well, he's a decent-sized kid. He's not gigantic. He's not a freak. He's not, a 6'4", 8th grader who's the point guard on the basketball team. He's not this player that just walks down the hall and you're like, oh, my God, look at that guy. And I have played with and seen guys like that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was a teammate of mine who eventually went to Penn State who was 6'4" when he was in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And could dunk a basketball when he was in 8th grade. And I have seen 8th grade, and I played in high school and college with players that were just incredible athletes. None of them made the NFL. This guy is. So if you sit there and say, well, the best athletes make it in the NFL.
Right.
You have to be a good enough athlete. But really what it comes down to is that Matt Skura filled enough checkbox, meaning he's big enough, he's athletic enough, but then on top of that, he's a smart kid. He went to Duke. He had good grades. His dad was a doctor. and he's reliable. And so the Baltimore Ravens are right now going, you know what? He's a reliable center. He's going to be there. He's not going to get me beat.
Right.
And so we're going to put him in there, even though we probably could find a better athlete to be there. It's the same thing with comedy. If you went up to the Comedy Cellar and said to him, there are funnier people or funny people who never touched a woman without asking, who never forced women to watch him masturbate, they would probably say, yes, we understand this.
Yeah.
But he'll sell us $20 drinks.
Yeah.
He'll sell us that. And that's really kind of, it's not just this pure meritocracy in a sense that, okay, the funniest wins. No, it's a bunch of different things, and you got to check off enough boxes.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I think like with hiring, for work and stuff like that. That person may be the best person, but they're not like exactly fit for what you're looking for. Like they might be the best person in the job, but maybe they're not available all the time.
Or how about this? Like in terms of finding a partner, a romantic partner.
Yeah.
You could sit there and be like, well, you could find a better looking guy.
Yeah.
And you could sit there and be like, okay, theoretically, I could just search for the best looking human being I can find.
Right, yeah.
But if that's the only thing that I'm looking for, there's a good chance that there are other aspects of this person that make it to where the relationship would not be fulfilling, meaning they're jerks or they're not smart or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, again, it's the same thing. So, again, what does a comedy club owe its audience? What the audience wants.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what sometimes we in comedy world think that, like, okay, the audience wants what we want. No. The audience wants what they want.
Yeah.
And sometimes what we want is completely different.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just don't understand that. And it's frustrating as heck because you're like, well, I know there are funnier people than that. Or, why is it that this audience is responding to this person's comedy when obviously they are not delivering what we feel is quality stuff?
Yeah.
Because the audience it's like with, going back to, a great comedian, George Carlin said, you know why the politicians suck? Because the people voting for them suck.
Yeah.
It's not, they didn't hatch on their own. They're a product of what environment exists anyway. So I believe that is what comedy clubs owe their audience. You get what you pay for, or you get what you want.
I agree.
Moving on, we need compassion for everyone, Alex.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
But you did something, you again, follow Alex on Instagram, which I think is always very interesting. You learned a lot about Alex, super producer Alex. And so you put on your Instagram a little quote, and I'll get to it eventually.
Do you want me to read it?
I can read it, or do you want to read it?
I already have it here.
Okay, then read it.
I put this. Being compassionate is so fucking difficult. It's easy to think you get it and to say, yeah, I'm a compassionate person. But what is it really? Today, to me, it's realizing that most people aren't deliberately out to hurt you. They're just figuring shit out and trying to live their life the best way they know how, just like the rest of us. But thinking that and actually acting and reacting with that in mind is so hard.
Okay. First and foremost, can I ask what prompted you to write that?
I watched this movie called... Shit.
Called Shit?
When We Were Younger.
Okay.
It has like Ben Stiller and Adam Driver in it.
Okay.
Not the best movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it was definitely not the movie I was looking for on Friday because I felt like shit. Mm-hmm. And then I watched
physically, like you were sick?
Physically shit, yeah. Okay. And then I watched this movie.
Because you thought Ben Stiller, haha, it'll be a funny film.
I really don't like Ben Stiller. I watched it because I wanted to watch a movie with a pretty person. And
Adam
Driver was in it, yeah.
Okay, and I don't want to get off on a tangent. I think there are better looking human beings than Adam Driver.
Yeah, but I like him. I think he's very pretty. But he ended up being a huge douche in the movie, so it didn't help.
Okay, we won't get off on a track, but I think he looks weird. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I think he looks nicely weird.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I watched that movie, and a lot of it, basically this older couple becomes friends with this younger couple, and they're trying to kind of like understand their ways, and Adam Driver ends up being this huge douche and blah, blah, blah. And in the end, it's basically just like, well, he wasn't, like, he was being a douche, yeah, but, like, it's just because he's young and, like, he's just figuring stuff out. And, like, we would have probably been the same exact people when we were young and done the same exact things. So like it made me think a lot about being compassionate about how like it's so easy whenever someone does something to you to like quickly react to it and immediately react badly. But if you like take a step back and actually be like, oh, why is this person doing this, or why are they treating me this way? It's not necessarily like most people aren't out to get you. Like most people aren't out to deliberately hurt you and like make you feel bad, especially people who are close to you. They don't want to make you feel bad. So like why are they doing what they're doing? And typically there's a reason for it, and it's something that you would do too.
Well, the thing that I would sit there and say is, a guy told me once, people see the world as they are.
Right.
And so if you are a compassionate person, you view that other people are also compassionate people, and you go from there. Or if you're a sinister person, if you're a person that is deceitful, you feel everyone is being deceitful of you.
Right.
Because you see the world as you are. Now, one thing that I've always had a tough time with is I feel that I'm a very kind of conscientious, organized, very, I'm big on if someone says hello, I say hello back. If someone messages me, I do my best to message back. If someone, looks like they're down, I go up to them and try to make them feel better. So when someone doesn't do that for me, I sit there and I go, well, in my situation, if I didn't message someone back, or I didn't respond to someone, or if I was in pain, it's because I was deliberately trying to send a message.
Right.
When in reality, you're right. It is one thing that you do have to remember, like, no, they're not. And what's frustrating is I almost feel like people should be more forthright on why they're doing things. Again, that's an impossible thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd hope that people would be like, but like...
And most people don't think that they need to explain why they're doing things because they're thinking that you're thinking about it the same way, that they are.
Because we just don't know how to communicate, and it's frustrating as hell.
It is, yes.
Like, I'm a very verbal person. I'm a very much a person that I feel I'm very kind of easy to read.
Yeah.
If I like you, you know it.
Yeah.
If I don't like you, trust me, you'll know it.
Yeah.
If I don't trust you, you'll know it. Whatever. And I always find it very difficult because it seems like everyone else is not as visible as me. Because, again, I'm a very verbal person. I'm a very outward person. I get up on stage for 45 minutes at a time sometimes and say exactly what I think.
Yeah.
And, again, most people don't feel that way, whereas I do. Like, for instance, at my day job, someone was commenting that I was very blunt with customers.
Yeah.
Not mean, but very much just like, no, this is how it is.
Right.
And the person would sit there and be like, I need to be more like that. And I didn't even think that I was being very blunt with customers.
Right, that's just who you are.
I just always assume that people want to hear the truth.
Yeah.
That people want to hear, like, I haven't told this story, but it's one of those moments that I really kind of appreciate more as I walk away from it. So I was at an open mic, and some woman walks in, attractive, sits down next to me. I go up, I do comedy. She comes back, she comments how much she liked the comedy, everything like that. We start talking for about an hour and 15 minutes. Very pleasant conversation, everything like that.
Yeah.
After being done, she goes, hey, I got to go. I go, hell, hey, let me walk you to your car. It's in the city. I didn't want to do whatever. So I walk her to our car, and I sit there and I look at her, and I go, hey, I'd really like for you to come to one of my shows. She sits there and goes, point blank, she goes, are you hitting on me? And I go, well, I'm just trying to she goes, no. Are you hitting on me?
Yeah.
And at a moment of Mike Sasson being blunt, I go, yeah, I am. And she goes, I don't like leading people on. I appreciate it, but I'm not interested.
Yeah.
And I go, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I would like to see you come to one of my shows. I shook her hand, and she goes, thank you, and we walked away.
Yeah.
When I drove away, after I got off the initial sting of like, ooh, that kind of hurt.
Yeah.
I really was just like, I really appreciated that.
Right.
I really appreciated someone not sitting there going, well, maybe I'm in time,
Yeah.
Just like, no, I'm not interested. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you imagine time we would save?
But not everyone can be like that. But that's not their fault that they're not blunt like that. Not everyone can be like that.
That should be but I don't think that's a goal of most people. Most people would view what she did was mean. I view it as being very kind of freeing.
I don't know. Like, I don't view that as mean at all, but like, I'm also not completely comfortable saying that to people all the time. Like, I try my best to be like very direct with people, but like, I'm still an overly nice person, and like sometimes.
Oh, I'm nice, but I think nice sometimes can be just like you don't get too deep into it, but you do sit there like if a comedian is goes up and they do ask me sometimes, and they'll be like, so what did you think? And I'm not like you're terrible and you should quit. No, I don't say that. I just be like, you got to just keep going up.
Yeah.
You just got, which is true. You just got to keep going up. There is no secret.
Right.
You just keep writing and keep going up.
Yeah.
Now, I feel that that's great advice. It's advice that I would give Mike of 6 years ago.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you should do. Now, I'm not being blunt or mean,
right,
but I am being honest, which is, hey, you just gotta keep working. That wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
You just gotta keep working on it.
But still, it's just like it's not as easy for most people.
But how do you know when someone is deliberately trying? Like, they're just jerks.
I don't know. I don't. Maybe if they're doing something over and over and over again, and you have to I think. If you try and see it from their side and try and like talk to them about it and be like, hey, like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you being like this? And they have like some sort of explanation or like can, back it up in some way. But I don't know. I think if they continue to do horrible things to you and there's really no reason why.
Not even horrible things. Just, obviously there's a difference between horrible and someone who's just more or less just inconsiderate.
I sometimes think too, because like in certain situations, that person may not even be inconsiderate, but like it may hurt your feelings so much that you're like, this just isn't worth it for me. Like, even if you're not trying to hurt me, like I'm still getting hurt a lot, and like you could probably just do better with someone else.
and I've done that. Where I've sat there and been like, I don't think that that you're being this way or you are hurting. So essentially, I'm just going to take a step back.
Yeah.
And I've done that with people.
Yeah.
And again, but I think sometimes if you truly kind of look at them at one way, you do sit there and eventually go, you know what, maybe this person is just, not worth the time.
Yeah, I think you're just not compatible with all people. That's okay. And yeah, it's not worth either of your time
but
to
you're
not
saying
work.
It shouldn't change you, and you should remain compassionate and open.
Yeah.
There
yeah, I mean, I'm saying mostly that you should try and see everyone's side of it, but at a certain point, it just may not be good for either of you.
So what we need to do is you need just multiple Instagram posts to get all of that out.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
No. I try and limit it to like one feelings post a week or something like that.
There you go. That's this is what this is. It's the Feelings Show. Welcome to the Feelings Show on the Mike Sasson Show.
Oh, God.
On. There you go. Anyways, we'll be right back with Bar Thoughts and Experience with Alex, where Alex tells you how to find the perfect man. Again, it's the Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge, www.riversedgepgh.com. We will be right back.
Brian Crawford letting you know that Kevin Slogic, my State Farm agent in Allison Park, is here to help life go right and reminds you that you're listening to the River's Edge Radio Network.
Come on, go! It's green! Come on! Go!
God damn it, Brian. You need to calm down
I'm
with the road
sick
rage.
of these people, these assholes.
The road rage, man. You gotta calm down on the road rage.
Well, I want to get to where we're going. We have a lot of great stuff coming up. We're going to Falling Water,
Bicycle Heaven.
the Mattress Factory,
Knob.
Trundle Manor. All right, which way do I go? Which way do I go? Come on,
right,
come on.
Right.
Too late now.
Right, come on.
Well, too late now. I got to keep going. I'm not going to sit here like some asshole.
Oh, come on, man.
All right, you're listening to the Culture Cruise. You can find us at riversedgepgh.com.
Your local Pittsburgh area museum podcast.
Yes, riversedgepgh.com, and come take a ride with us.
It is the Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge. Again, you can listen to us on www.riversedgepgh.com, where you get the best local music. And here's the thing, I learned this from Brian. You can listen to 24 hours of the River's Edge, and you'll never hear the same song twice. That's
know that.
incredible. That's it. So again, if you don't like how terrestrial radio, and it's getting sickening. In my job, we play terrestrial radio in my workplace, and legitimately, I think they might only have 15 songs.
Yeah, it's terrible. That's why I don't ever listen. I listen to WYEP because they have local music, and even sometimes that repeats, but it's not as bad.
Yeah, we should both be trying to get the River's Edge in, but technology has stopped us. We need to improve ourselves.
Yes.
But you can listen to it because you're better than me and Alex. And the thing about it is, one thing though that Alex does know and does do better than anybody is get her drink on, and then after that, write down her deepest, darkest thoughts. It's Bar Thoughts and Experience. Here's a song about pizza.
Maybe y'all can relate. My style's dope any way that you slice it. Here's a fresh cut, hope that you like it. About to open up a can of some cancer. When it come to pizza,
All right, Alex, what is this week's Bar Thought and Experience?
So this week's Bar Thought and Experience is a really great quote from my mom.
Make sure you get it right, because I don't want you to mess up her quotes.
I mean, I wrote it down wrong, maybe, but
Okay. This isn't verbatim. You didn't record it and then write it down.
I did not record it. I really
Which
wish I
proves,
recorded
again,
people
why
more.
we shouldn't follow the Bible, because you met her, you know her, she's alive, you wrote it down, and you're kind of right. Let alone, like, when we're saying, oh, this is what Jesus exactly said, when we didn't even have cell phones back then. It was 200 years later. Sorry to get on a soapbox there.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Anyways, she said this quote, and I thought it was pretty hilarious at the time. She has, we have about 50,000 pillows at my house.
All right.
Because my mom still has yet to find, like, her perfect pillow.
Okay.
And so she just keeps buying them and buying them.
What is she
and
looking for in
hoping.
these pillows?
I don't know, but she still hasn't found it. So we have like a godzillion amount of pillows at our house. It's kind of amazing because I've never needed to buy a pillow in my life. But anyways, so she said this quote because she was talking about her pillow search. She said, "Pillows are like bras in men. It's an endless search for the right one, and you will never find it."
That's pretty depressing. That's really depressing.
So true, though. At
You'll
least for pillows and bras, you'll never find the right bra.
You'll never find the right bra. But
And you'll
bras
never
were
find the
invented
right
by
pillow.
men, and I don't think that necessarily they
I mean,
had
they're
any
not
thought.
still invented. Like, there's
You'd
other
think they
people
would get
who
to a
make them
point.
now.
Are you saying that every bra you've ever worn has just been a little off?
Yeah.
That's
Always.
sad. I'm sad that every moment of every day you're somewhat uncomfortable. Again, compassion.
Yeah, I mean, that's yeah, I think you could ask any woman that, and they'd pretty much say that about many things in their lives. But
And the funny thing is we would be completely cool if you didn't wear them.
right, yeah, but that'll never happen.
I know. Again, weirdness at certain
But
levels.
then people would be weird about like nipples and things.
No,
you know?
people would just be like, okay, fine, you see nipples. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, but it would
Grow
be.
up.
We can't even show nipples on Instagram and
I
things
know,
like that.
I know. I want to change this. You know I'm pro-nipple.
I know, but I'm
trying
saying,
to change the world and make sure that everyone can be free with their bodies. Boom, win, victory.
Yeah, that'll not happen though.
It needs to. Go ahead, Alex.
Uh,
But men, you're saying even your mom looks at her husband, the man who she has created a home for, and said, you know what? There's some stuff I still put up with in you.
I think that part was more of a joke. The other two are very much true, but I
Okay.
think that part was a little more of a joke. But I
Okay.
thought it was pretty hilarious.
All right.
But me and my sister both looked at each other like, yeah, we made that noise. Because it was me and my sister, and then my parents, and then my two cousins who will be married for 50 years, I think, this year.
Wow.
So,
And even they were like, I hate this person.
no, they're pretty happy together.
That's
but,
beautiful. There you go.
So maybe even if you can't find a perfect bra or a perfect pillow, you might be able to find a
Perfect dude.
almost perfect dude.
Now let me ask you a question then, Alex.
Perfect's like a pretty high standard.
I mean, you can achieve it, maybe. Anyways, I had a football coach who sat there and said, my minimum expectation is perfection.
Oh, yeah,
Meaning,
that sounds like a real football thing to say.
Yeah. Well, the whole point would be that I expect you to be, to do everything right. I don't expect you to ever do anything wrong. I understand that you will, but I don't expect it.
See,
I don't accept it, I guess would be the answer.
at work, I always say to people, I'll say, what do these shirts look like? And they're like, they look okay. I was like, is okay our standard? And that's what I say.
Oh my God, you're such a ball buster. Such a ball buster.
I know, I'm really mean.
I
I don't
know.
know how anyone puts up with me.
I think, to be honest with you, they don't. That's really what it comes down to. They don't put
No,
up with you.
people keep working for me, so
Well,
I don't know why.
It's, because of horrible conditions, and
Right.
basically you find people that are broken people, and they need they just constantly need to be abused, and you fill that hole.
I think that everyone who works for me would really appreciate hearing that.
There you go. Okay, but how do you find a perfect dude? How, Alex? How?
I don't know. I haven't figured that out yet.
thought that's
I
what
don't
this-
think I'm on the right track.
I thought that's what this segment was about.
No, the segment was more about how great and funny my mom is.
Oh, okay.
And how she says you can't find the perfect man.
But let me ask you a question then. What would you
Maybe
say?
it's dating sites.
Dating sites. That's where you find the perfect
Since
dude.
that's how my parents met.
In the 1980s version of dating sites, right?
Yes.
Which was just like a letter.
Yeah, just a piece of paper
Yeah.
that said their names and like a little description about them.
What did you ever see? What your mom? The description of your mom was? What was
Yeah.
the description of your mom?
I don't remember what it was, but like literally it's just a whole sheet of paper and it's just her name and it's like her height probably and like a little bit of what she looks like. I think like hair and eye color and height. And then kind of like what they're interested in. I'm sure that hers was probably like went to school for blah 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 and like where she works. But it's just like it's the quickest thing. Like it would be kind of like if you were on a dating site now but not seeing that person's photo
Yeah.
like and knowing like the absolute shortest version of their bio. And then just calling them and being like, yeah, this person sounds great.
I've often thought that it wouldn't be a bad idea to go on one of those speed dating like things where you sit at a table or a woman sits.
I do think that would be fun.
And you just kind of walk in and you have like 5 minutes to kind of like think, and then eventually like you figure out that nobody there likes you.
Do they still have those?
Probably.
That would be a cute way to meet like your future husband or wife.
The problem is then eventually I would just walk. You're supposed to like get a key. Like someone goes, ooh, these are the people that said, yeah, go ahead. And then my thing would be empty and I'd be like walking home going to eat a hoagie.
Yeah. I didn't know that's how it worked.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's like you get rejected, but at warp speed.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess I never really thought about the end part of it.
Well, the problem is in your life you'd have like 900 dudes like putting their keys in there, and in my life it would
So
just
many
be
options.
It would just be a bunch of like letters, just be going, "Are you a human?" And I'd just be like, "Wah wah."
I'm going to try speed dating out.
There you go.
I'll see if it still exists anywhere. I might have to like travel far. Speed dating, Pittsburgh, PA. Perfect.
Told you.
There's like Eventbrites for it too. There's it's called Let's Get Cheeky, Speed Dating Pittsburgh. I'm going to go to that one.
There you go. Cheeky, like do you have no pants on or something?
I don't know. I real hope so, because that would be a great. I honestly think that might be the exact way that you find your perfect person.
There was wasn't there a game show over in England in which it started out, you just looked at their junk, and then they just kept on opening up like more parts of it until you saw the face?
Are you serious?
Yeah. I told you about that.
Huh.
Yeah. And I think your response to it was, hell's yeah, that's exactly how I want to meet my man.
Yeah.
Seeing the junk first and being like, okay, we'll pass that. Then you see the abs and the and butt and stuff like that. Then his quads, and then eventually you figure out that he's got like a Nazi symbol on his forehead. And then you have to make a decision. He's got a great tool between the legs. Do I care that he is a piece of dog crap in terms of being a racist? And that's where the drama comes in.
Yeah. Do you want to hear the description for this speed dating thing?
Sure, why not?
A low-key, sophisticated approach to dating in Pittsburgh, preferring a less-is-more environment devoid of typical event trappings. What are those? What do you get
Sounds like a bunch
trapped
of bullshit to begin with, so go ahead.
Gone are the name tags, shouting, and over-the-top party trimmings. Meeting your special someone shouldn't be anything but a comfortable and relaxed experience. Creating a private club atmosphere while recognizing our clients are also our product. We reward lovely daters with discounts and complimentary events and refuse service to anyone we don't think you'll fancy meeting. So, Mike, you can't go.
Yeah, exactly. I'll walk in and be like, hi, I'm Mike. They're like, get out.
This is where being lovely has its perks.
Boom.
That's like, this is where being attractive has its perks.
Yeah, only here. Every other place it doesn't.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't get you anywhere.
Bill Burr had a joke And it was like an old Bill Burr joke, but I had never seen it, so it was new to me. He talked about that he doesn't trust beautiful women because they're never around when things are going bad. He always sits there and says, as long as when things like you never see beautiful women hanging around underpasses in like in bad neighborhoods. It's always like, hey, I just won the lottery, and then all of a sudden every Playboy model within 100 miles shows up.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting because it's kind of true. Beautiful women are front runners is what it gets down to.
Right, exactly.
A lot of beautiful women love the Patriots. Not a lot of beautiful women love the Browns.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, what?
There's certain ages for them.
Okay, is there one for your age?
No.
They assume you're out, wolfing it around, getting strange.
See, that's what I want to know. I want to know who's going to these.
Old dudes.
Ooh, 25. Ew, I hate that I'm in that age category. 25 to 39. I had to check that off on a box the other day.
Uh-huh.
It's 25 to 39. I'm like, ugh, that's a terrible age group.
Why?
Because I'm not in like the 18 to 24 anymore.
I know, you're an old bag.
That sucks.
There's a generation younger than you now. There used to be millennials. Now there's like Generation N or Generation Now, or they don't even know how to like read anymore. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now guess what? Now you can crap on a generation. Congratulations.
Yeah, but I the other day I wanted to post something about yesterday. My parents were watching the football game.
Uh-huh.
So they were both watching the football game, and they were both sitting there on their phone. Like, they were watching it on TV. They were both sitting on their phones, and then my mom, like, had her laptop open and stuff like that. And I wanted to take a picture of them and be like, so why are people insulting millennials for, like, not participating in life?
True. Maybe they were checking their scores for their fantasy football.
Yeah, that's most of what they were doing, but still.
I'm doing really well, by the way.
Still.
If you cared.
All right, so I can go to this 25 to... That's honestly probably my great... That's where I do...
$20, it's not going to be a bunch of 25, 26-year-old dudes. It's going to be about a 38, 39-year-old dudes and one 45-year-old who lied.
See, I don't know. I don't like... I don't typically like people who are exactly my age anyways.
You like older dudes. You're a big
Yeah.
fan into the old dudes.
Not too old.
I know.
Just older.
Older.
You know?
I hear
People
you.
my age are still... I don't know. They're not with it.
They're not with it. They don't have their shit together, is what you're saying.
Maybe when they're 30.
That's right. Maybe when they're 30. Alex, is there anything else that you would like?
No, I don't think so. I'll go on one of these speed dating things and let you know how it is.
There you go. Alex is going to go on a speed dating
I'll wear a
thing.
secret like camera on my shirt.
And no bra.
I'm gonna wear a bra.
Why? To be comfortable. You just said that it's important to be comfortable with this thing.
Yeah, I think I'd feel much more comfortable wearing a bra.
Now you're not making sense. You're saying that bras are uncomfortable, but not wearing one makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Make a decision.
Especially in that certain circumstance.
Why is that?
I don't know.
It's a great.
Everyone's looking at you.
Exactly. You're sitting there going, they're like, hey, that's a great conversation starter. Hey, your nipples look wonderful today.
Oh my
You're
God.
Like, oh, thank you very much.
Oh God.
Thank you very much, Carl.
No.
You're wonderful, Zach.
All right, let's get into your segment.
Anyways, that was Bar Thoughts and Experiences with Alex. Thank you very much for sharing, Alex.
You're welcome.
There you go. And now it's my sizzling takes. It's called Hot Takes. First hot take. It's too fucking hot.
Oh my God, I had no idea that you were going to bring that up today.
Too fucking hot.
No idea, even though it's 67 degrees.
Here
in
it's
this building.
perfect. This is fall weather. This is why I want you in sweaters, looking like you're a librarian. I am comfortable. No, all day, sweaty. It's October. This is supposed to be my glory, the fall, and it's almost 90. No.
I'm enjoying it.
I hate it. It's because I'm going to get like 2 weeks of fall.
I'm also inside all day, so I don't care about the weather.
I'm going to get 2 solid weeks of fall, and then it's going to snow, and then I'm just going to be pissed. I don't need it. You don't need the aggravation, Alex.
I actually don't like the winter now because where I sit in my office is freezing in the winter, so I have to just permanently wear a winter coat and like 50 things on my body so that I stay warm.
And no bra because they're not
and like
comfortable.
5 heaters around me.
There you go. You're just in hell. Anyways, here's another hot take. Judge Kavanaugh got confirmed A lot of people were upset because, there was the big hubbub about the fact that the woman came out and said, Dr. Ford said this man sexually assaulted me, and he denied it. And the senators basically said, yeah, we heard you both. We're doing this anyway. And people were like, how could this be? Here's how it could be. Most people weren't paying attention.
Yeah.
Most people view politics the same way Alex views sports. She knows they exist. She kind of gets the gist, but she's not paying that close attention.
Nope.
Like, the Steelers won yesterday.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily care how.
Nope.
You're not getting into the minutia of, Ben Roethlisberger threw for this many yards, or Antonio Brown had this many catches, or all this kind of stuff. But you know the generalities. That's
Yes.
how most people view politics.
Yes.
They know that, okay, this is happening, and I guess something goes on, and then eventually it ends, and something moves on.
Right.
Same thing with sports. Oh, this team is playing, and now they're winning, and then it's over, and they host a trophy, and then they have a parade, and it's over,
Yeah.
and half the people wear a T-shirt that doesn't fit.
Yes.
That's how it works. All right. Number 3. You could tell when a movie is any good by when the studio releases it. Like this past week, they released Venom with the guy from Batman 3, the bad guy, that guy.
Oh, Tom Hardy?
Yeah. And people were kind of watching it, and they're like, this is kind of...
I didn't even know that was the thing.
Exactly. They were like, this isn't that great. You know why? I didn't even need to see the movie. I knew it wasn't that great. They released it around Columbus Day.
Oh.
That's when they know. I mean, if they release this in the summer, then that's the studio saying, hey, we know this is a good flick.
Yeah.
But because they released it in October, it's like, okay, we have to release a movie in October. I guess we'll release this Tom Hardy Marvel movie now. Also, they already know that next year they're going to release the Mr. Rogers Tom Hanks movie in late October.
Yeah.
Reason why is because that's prime Oscar.
Oh.
Okay, that's from basically around Halloween until around Christmas. That's when all the Oscar movies get released.
Okay.
And then from about Easter until the probably the middle of August, that's when all the big budget action movies get released. When you hear that they were slated to have this movie released on July 4th weekend, but instead they're going to release it in October, it's because someone saw it and went, this is a piece of shit. We're not going to waste it by putting a bunch of marketing behind it. Let's put it in October. It's like when they talk about they bury a TV show.
Yeah.
Will you ever see a syndicated TV show? You're like, I didn't know that Arsenio Hall has a cooking show because it's on 2:30 in the morning on WTAE.
Right.
It's because contractually they had to take it. They had to have it in Pittsburgh. But they were like, we're not putting this on at 10 o'clock. This is stupid. So we're going to put it on at 2 in the morning. They do that with movies, too.
That makes me feel bad for those people.
Why? Because they got to make hundreds of millions of dollars making a movie, and just by the way, it stinks?
No.
Why are you feeling sad for someone who had all of the resources of a Hollywood movie and still made a boring movie?
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't completely their fault.
Oh, it's no one's fault. Again, if you talk to anybody that makes movies, and I have talked to a few, they will tell you point blank, it's a miracle when it's good.
Yeah. Because
there's so many reasons why it could suck.
Right.
Because, again, you have someone who comes up with an idea. And then typically, this is how most people think movies should be made. Someone has an idea, they write it, they eventually sell it to a studio because they go, oh, this is a good idea. They go make it, and that's it. That's not how most movies, especially in Hollywood, are made. It's someone decides that, we need a movie, the purified drinking water movie. And then they hire 6 different screenwriters to write the purified drinking water movie.
Right.
Then somebody reads it and says, hey, we need to sell purified drinking water toys and have purified drinking water rides and all this other kind of stuff. So then they add a bunch of stuff. And then all of a sudden, Christian Bale is going to be in it. And so Christian Bale's people take a look at it and go, we don't like that part of the drinking water movie. And then eventually they get a director. The director says, well, I want to take it this way. And then they go, no, we don't like this movie. You ever watch a movie when, every person who's ever made a movie always will talk about the fact that it took 3 years, 5 years, and it's a miracle the damn thing was made.
Yeah.
There's a new book about it's from Michael Ovitz.
Okay.
He was one of the biggest super agents of all time, and he's told a story which I thought was very interesting.
He was trying to get Steven Spielberg as a client.
Okay.
And so he had Martin Scorsese as a client. And so he saw that Martin Scorsese had this book as the rights to, and he had this book for 10 years.
Okay.
It was called Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Okay. Martin Scorsese was going to direct Schindler's List. Steven Spielberg had the rights to a movie called Cape Fear.
Yeah.
So Michael Ovitz went up to freaking Scorsese and said, "Hey, here's the deal. I don't think you're right for Schindler's List, but I think you do a great job with Cape Fear. Why don't we trade?" And so he said, "You know what? I really, you're right. Maybe I shouldn't," and everything like that. But then Stanley Kubrick was going to do a movie about the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And so he sat there and went, well, if I have Steven Spielberg do Schindler's List, and Stanley Kubrick, who's a friend of Steven Spielberg, is going to do a Holocaust movie, maybe Steven Spielberg isn't going to do it because he's going to not want to step on the toes of Stanley Kubrick, his buddy, or there'll be two Holocaust movies at the same time, and people, it's like when they have too many movies about, like, kids switching bodies with their parents, and people are like, there's too many of these Holocaust movies.
Yeah.
So he literally flew to England, sat down at his kitchen table, read the script, and point blank said to him, "I'm being honest with you, the script for Schindler's List is better than this. Steven Spielberg will make a better movie, and you'll be known as making the B version of the Holocaust movie."
Yeah.
And Stanley Kubrick goes, "Okay, whatever.
All
I
right.
won't make it then." And then
I guess I could do something else.
Yeah, and then by the way, Steven Spielberg, who isn't a client of his, eventually they work to eventually make Steven Spielberg, and so Cape Fear becomes a hit. Steven Spielberg gets to direct Schindler's List, and I'm reading all of these things, and I'm like, this is over like 3 years that this happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a miracle either one of these movies were made.
Right.
One person makes one different thing, it could be unbelievable.
Yeah.
But again, I don't feel bad for the people that eventually make it, because at some point, someone still got to make a movie.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
It is still exciting.
Yeah, there you go. And the final hot take, I have my new phone, and the one thing that's a game changer on this damn thing,
What?
the battery.
Oh, my gosh.
The battery on this is a game changer. I don't even plug the damn thing in during the day.
What giant phone do you have?
I have the Note 6 the from Samsung.
Oh. Were you just like, hey, give me your biggest phone that you have?
I knew I wanted a Samsung because I've kind of decided. There's like you decide whether you're iPhone or you're Android. I've decided I'm Android.
Yeah, me too.
And so I've gone up, and then I looked at it, and they had the commercials. I've used the stylus, which is like the little righty thing, once.
Yeah.
I don't really care. But I like the fact that I do watch movies on this thing. And then I watched, and I hated my old battery because I constantly had to have it plugged in. Now, I don't ever have to have this thing plugged. It's at 80%. I haven't plugged it in. I've plugged it in for like 10 minutes this whole day. That's a game changer. Good job with those people with the battery.
You tell me if it stays like that, and then I'll be impressed.
It'll stay like that for like a year or two, and
Yeah.
then it'll turn to shit.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to get another one.
Yep.
That's the circle of life.
The circle of life.
Speaking of the circle of life, that was a song by Elton John. And next up, we're going to do Fresh Eyes with Elton John. 80s Elton John, the best Elton John. Again, it's Mike Sasson Show on the River's Edge. That's Alex Clemens. We love you. We'll be right back.
Tires racing through my mind. The thoughts that echo, redundant numbers I never knew just how they add up. To the holes I'll dig in time for the kids that never knew how to make a difference, or maybe feel lucky to breathe. You can't say.
It is the Mike Sasson Show. Thank you to everyone who supports the show. Lots of new likes from last week, especially after our great segment with Derek Minto talking about the new Burning Bridges Comedy Club at Hambones. Great opening weekend there. So congratulations to everybody there. So thank you very much to everybody. And thank you very much to Brian Crawford for making us just so happy and a great home here at the River's Edge. Now, a person who's typically not happy is a person like Alex who has to watch videos
from an era she's not a huge fan of, and because of that, she plays a country song I'm not a big fan of. It's just really a giant poop sandwich that we both eat. It's called Fresh Eyes. Play the song.
There's no love like a country girl with money.
This week, in honor of Elton John, who is making his final appearance in Pittsburgh, I think, in the next couple days.
Final.
He's doing his, like, farewell tour.
Mm-hmm.
I know, you give... Well,
Don't they all?
Well, here's what they do, okay? Like, for instance, Motley Crue went on their farewell tour, but now they're doing selected dates, and they might do a residency in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And the whole point is they can say, well, we're not going on tour... So they could say this is the last, like Paul Simon did his farewell thing a couple weeks ago in Pittsburgh. And again, he's going to perform. He's just not going to go on tour ever again.
Cher's done like 16 farewell tours. Swear to God.
Yes. Because I always say don't have, like, 'cause you never know when you want to stop.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I guess it's like, hey, if you don't have a new album out and you just want to tour and you need to make money, then a way to get people to show up, like, hey, this might be the final time. But here's the thing. When you're Elton John or Cher or Paul Simon, not saying they're old, but let's just be honest. There's a good chance any time's going to be the last time.
Right, yeah.
The next
that's
time
true.
Paul McCartney shows up, go see him. It's the last. He's in his 70s.
Yeah.
You never know when you're going to get the text that say he's passed away. You know?
Right.
So you never know. Anyway, so this week we did Elton John. A little background on Elton John. Just if you didn't know, Alex.
Okay,
This
I'm
is
ready.
straight from his Wikipedia page. I don't even think it's his Wikipedia. It's not, he doesn't own it or anything like that. Anyways, Elton John has sold over 300 million records. Okay? Making him one of the most best-selling artists in the history of the world. He has more than 50 top 40 hits, including 7 consecutive #1 U.S. albums, 58 Billboard Top 40 singles, 27 Top 10, 4 #2s, and 9 #1s. For 31 consecutive years, he had a song in the Billboard Top 100.
That's it.
That's it. His rededication to Candle in the Wind in 1997 for Diana, Princess of Wales sold over 33 million copies worldwide and is the best-selling single in the history of the U.S. and U.K. singles charts. He has also composed music and produced records and has occasionally acted in films. He owned a soccer team. He's honorary.
Christ.
He owns like a stadium, and he did something that was like one of the big like. When I realized how big he was, is I was a teenager, and there was like a documentary on Elton John.
Yeah.
And the thing about Elton John is he has like eras of success. Like he has the first era where he had like the "This Is Your Song" and that Tiny Dancer type era. And then he had he became big and he had "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road," and then he had the '80s one, which is I showed the videos of. And then he had when he did all the Disney shows, Disney things like "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" and all that kind of stuff. So it was during like that whole Lion King thing.
Yeah.
They showed a documentary of him backstage, and the way he would shop is people would just bring him shit. Like, they'd fill up a room with just shit, like clothes and toys and electronics and all this kind of stuff. And he would just walk through and just go, yes, yes.
Oh, I want that
yes,
so bad.
Yes, yes. And then he would just have a guy just pull out a wad of cash and just hand it to the person, and then he would just leave it there, and the other person's job was just to carry it around and stuff like that.
Ah, I want that.
Yeah. Well, let's get the Mike Sasson Show, worldwide type
Yeah, where
thing.
are our wardrobe people?
Yeah, and then the other thing which I thought was interesting is, so in that same documentary, somebody asked him, and he just was like, Sir Elton, do you ever think about what would happen if this all ended? And he looked at him, and he just goes, it's not going to happen. I've been doing this for 30 years. That just doesn't happen. I'll have good years and bad years. But bad years will still be pretty good, and I'll still be making a lot of money.
Right.
It's never going to stop.
Yeah.
I'm Elton John. And I just thought, like, at the time, I'm like, oh, it's kind of like, I expected him to go, well, I'd be at peace and all this kind of stuff. He just was like, no, that's never going to happen, Elton John. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So I asked you to watch 2 videos that were from maybe his wildest kind of, he had some weird periods, but when he got into videos, one thing that I thought was interesting is when videos first came out, they had a kind of difficult time with the 70s performers on what to do with videos.
Yeah, clearly.
And so with Elton John, he can't dance.
Right.
And he plays a piano, which really doesn't translate well.
You could do
into,
like one piano video and that's it.
Yeah. So like they had to figure out what to do with him. So essentially what the game plan is just do a bunch of stuff around him, and it made it seem like there was action.
Do a bunch of fucking weird shit around him, and maybe he'll look a little bit less goofy.
Yeah, because he let's be honest, he's a kind of a goofy dude. He was definitely someone that became famous in an era when you could look a little goofy and be okay.
Yes.
And I think we're kind of back in that. Ed Sheeran does not look like the typical rock star, but he just sold out like PNC Park. So maybe we're back in that era.
Yeah.
Who knows? But the first video that I wanted to talk about was, let's go with the one that I did for personal reasons. Sad songs say so much. And the reason why I said that is because, and I always thought that it was just a figment of my imagination, that every time I heard it, it was that I heard Sasson says so much. Because when I was a little kid, I was like maybe 7 or 8 years old when this song was popular, I thought he was literally saying that I was a loudmouth. Like he was saying that my last name, Sasson, says so much.
Right.
Turns out that I just thought it was a figment of my imagination. No, actually, Sasson Jeans, he actually did an ad campaign in which he changed the wording from sad songs say so much to Sasson says so much. Because there used to be, it's spelled the same way as mine, Sasson. So that's why I thought that this would be an interesting thing, and after watching it for a couple years. And again, it was black and white. It was very kind of dour. There was a lot of rain, but there was a lot of dancers in it and kind of doing weird stuff. What did you see when you saw this video?
It is black and white, but it's terribly edited so that certain things have color to them, and that certain thing is him throughout the video, and it's so bad. Like, that's one of the things that really just pains me about watching videos from this time period. Like, I get it, you want to try out like the cool new things and like editing and stuff, but it looks like shit. Like, his face was orange and he has this weird glow around him the whole time that's just not perfectly on him. So that
by the way, are you a
really
fan of
annoyed
Elton
me.
John?
Some songs, like there's certain songs that I
think I've never heard someone who flat out hates Elton John.
Like if I was at a bar or something and someone played Tiny Dancer, like you believed that I would sing to it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially after the whole Almost Famous movie. That really made singing Tiny Dancer into like a real A-level thing to do.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, there's certain songs that I like of his. These were not those.
Okay. So you're saying terribly edited.
Also, I don't understand his like barbershop quartet outfit in these videos. Like, why are you wearing that? Why is that the look that you're going for and continue throughout your videos?
Like just like the weird suit you're saying?
Yeah, he has like the little like top hat and like the suit. He looks like he's in a barbershop quartet.
The only way I could answer that was it's 1984.
Yeah, I mean, but
it's loud colors.
You would think he would change it up though, you know? But I guess like he was trying to have like some kind of signature look. He just did it in the weirdest way possible.
It's funny to be able to have to dress him because again, he's a weird kind of rock star, but he is a rock star.
Right.
But he's not the typical kind of like he's not someone that if he walked out in t-shirt and blue, in blue jeans that would make sense. He's supposed to be dressed to the nines.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, he's supposed to be wearing like a bright orange suit with a top hat and all this kind of stuff. Like he can't just walk out just like, okay, here's, like I saw Paul McCartney over the weekend. He was in Austin, and he was wearing like jeans and just like a button-up shirt, and that's it. And he was very relaxed, and he looked like Paul McCartney, and everyone was like, "Oh, there's Paul McCartney."
Right.
Whereas Elton John can't do that.
He has to wear like his funny-looking glasses and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I also really liked the part in this video where the girl is sitting in the seat and then she just does this like backflip up to the moon and then comes back down into the seat.
Yes.
And you're talking about like trying to make him look like more interesting because he doesn't do anything. And I'm just like, who decided that? Like someone was just like, someone was on a bunch of drugs like, hey, guys, in the middle of this video, we're just going to make this girl flip up to the moon. It has nothing to do with anything, with any part in the whole song or in this video.
Yeah.
But we're going to do it. And they're like, yeah, cool idea.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. It's someone had the idea that it would be a great idea to have a woman. It'd be a great idea to have 4 separate Elton Johns kind of sing to each other. It'd be a great idea to have someone lay in a chair and then all of a sudden they start floating and stuff like that. Yeah, it's all of those things were discussed and done, and people watched it and were completely content.
Yeah.
Now goes to the creme de la creme. I'm Still Standing.
Yes.
Which is maybe when I saw this video maybe about 6 months ago, and I held it back because I was like, Alex doesn't like the 80s videos. This is the most over-the-top, one of the most over-the-top 80s videos in the history of over-the-top 80s videos.
Yeah, I agree.
And so just so you know, it's filmed in Cannes, France, in the south of France.
Well, yeah, it's filmed in France.
Yeah.
You would know that in the first 5 seconds.
Because they show the French flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the people are dressed they're painted.
In the colors.
Yeah, they're body painted in the French colors.
And that's like the first 2 seconds.
Yeah, and this is the creme de like the key of like he's not moving, but everyone around him is like body painted in like orange body paint.
Yeah.
Dancing around him again to make him look active.
Yeah.
And the sad part about it is I really like this song. I think it's an interesting, cool, like upbeat 80s kind of tune, but it really does, it really is like over the top color and weirdness and all that other kind of stuff.
It is. And it's literally the cheesiest video in the whole entire world. And my favorite part is, I love all of the choreographed dancing.
Yes.
I'm a pretty big fan of choreographed dancing, and when it's really terrible.
Yeah.
Like terribly bad.
You could tell
but
someone
good.
who doesn't know anything about choreography did the choreography for this video.
Right. Or someone who just really loved the 80s.
Yeah.
But my favorite part was they are on the beach, and he has they tried to make him do something that was other than standing there. So he pushes over this line of people, and they all fell backward. And then he does this little dance.
Yeah.
And then he talks about
being a little kid.
Yes, yeah. And that's my favorite part of the whole thing. I'm like, this is so cute because he looks so awkward. Even doing a dance where he's meant to look awkward, he makes it look way more awkward than it even should be at all. Also, I really love the part, all of the beach scenes in this video are my favorite. The part where they have the little pieces of wood set up.
Yeah, and they jump on there, and then they jump in. The women lift their legs, and then the guy humps into it, and then they all grab each other.
Yeah, and it's great.
And that had to take an hour to choreograph.
Yeah, and it makes me so happy because imagine how many times you would have to do that too. It's not like you probably got that on the first shot.
Yeah.
And everyone's just okay, now gotta hump her again.
Well, I did a little research on this video. Again, they're in the south of France. And it was during the Cannes Film Festival, so the place was crawling with celebrities.
Yeah.
And who is there? Again, it's 1983, but Duran Duran.
Oh.
So Duran Duran sees Elton John, and Elton John is still on drugs and doing lots of, and drinking and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So Elton John sits there. I mean, the Duran Duran sits there and goes hey, let's party with Elton John.
Yeah.
And Elton John's like, hell yeah, I want to party with Duran Duran. This is proving I'm still with, because the whole song is about the 70, he started in 1970. He was big in the 70s, and then punk came and new wave and all this kind of stuff. But in 1983, he was making a statement, hey, I'm still here.
Right.
Everyone else changed. I'm still here. I'm still doing my thing. And it was a very, defiant song about him as an artist. So he meets these guys, but he still wants to be known as kind of one of the cool people. Duran Duran in 1983 was as cool as you can get.
Yeah.
So they get absolutely they just start feeding him drinks. And they tell a story in Duran Duran's autobiography that they get him so sloshed, they find his hotel room, they just throw him in there and just leave him. They're like, all right, see you, Elton John.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and they're just whatever. And he's like, yeah, see you, whatever. Falls in. And he's in the middle of shooting this video. It was a 2-day shoot. So in between, he's completely, just absolutely gone. He eventually wakes up. He has the worst hangover, and his assistant is sitting there staring at him. And Elton looks up and goes, what happened? And the assistant goes, you happened. That's what happened. And he walks away.
Jeez.
And then the thing is that, and this is, again, how cheesy 80 videos were.
They lost like half of the footage because it fell into the ocean.
Oh my God.
So they had to like redo a lot of the stuff, and he's hungover. So it made him even want to do less because he feels like crap. And so everyone else is, again, painted in, blue paint and everything like that. And he's like giving glitter to guy. Remember that scene? He walks through the thing,
Yeah.
and then he gives glitter to a guy wearing leather chaps and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, what? Where are you? What is this place that you're trying to, like, it looks like he's trying to enter a place, and that's like the payment that you need to enter this place is some glitter to this guy.
Yeah.
My favorite part of this video is the very end, his last pose where he's like behind the piano and he just like strikes a pose.
Yeah.
It's great. And then it freezes on that, and that's the end of the video. Love it. I think that was probably
Here's the thing.
best part.
You're smiling.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're like, oh my God, I hate this video. It's just like you're almost like, oh my God, I can't believe they did
it's
this.
so terribly bad.
It's
but
like
good.
so bad that it's good. Like you
Yeah.
have to watch it.
Yeah. And I think like with a lot of his songs, I think if I had grown up with them more, then I probably would like them now. But I didn't, so I don't.
But the 70s Elton John, again, Tiny Dancer is amazing.
Yeah.
Your song, Goodbye Yellow Rocket Man, these are songs that, like you talk about the radio station that plays 15 songs, 5 of them are Elton John
That's
songs.
very true.
And the other 4 are Eagles songs, and then there's a random Michael Jackson song,
Yeah.
and then every once in a while they'll play Van Halen's Jump. That's pretty much a radio station.
Yeah.
But going back to comedy, there was a story about there was this benefit in New York City with like the richest people in the history of the world. And the entertainment was Elton John, Louis C.K., Jerry Seinfeld closing.
Okay.
So pretty good, entertainment
yeah.
that they showed up for. So it's in this giant ballroom. Elton John brings a full band, and for like a half hour plays hit after hit after hit. I mean, just like playing the American songbook from 1970.
Yeah.
Everyone is pretending like a freaking guy is playing the piano in the freaking lobby of a Marriott in Cleveland. They could care less.
What?
They're all like eating, they're talking, all this. And Louis C.K. and Jerry Seinfeld are in the back of the room, just like looking at each other going, we have to go out and, like, this guy's legitimately playing Rocket Man, I'm Still Standing, Tiny Dancer, just like song after like top 100, every song is a hit. Every song's on the radio consistently, and nobody could give a shit. That's
Right.
how just jaded this crowd was.
Yeah.
Eventually, Louis C.K. gets up in front of the crowd, and he just goes, I'll be honest with you, I'll do my time, but there's nothing I'm going to do that is more impressive than he did, and you just completely ignored it. And you're just like, but it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy just, but I don't know. I guess he's in Pittsburgh in the next couple days, so if you have a chance, go see him, or don't. Those are the 2 choices.
Yeah, I mean, we're not making any money off of it.
Yeah, but overall, I think that looking at your smile, this might have been one of your more enjoyable fresh eyes.
Definitely one I didn't completely hate. There's also only 2 videos, and I was like, oh, what? 2
Yeah.
videos?
I didn't throw you 6 videos like last week.
6-7 minute long videos. Yeah.
That you had to literally listen to Jimi Hendrix reverb, which I couldn't be. I'm like, oh, there's another awesome one. Oh, there's another awesome one. And Alex is like, oh, I can't believe Jimi Hendrix is playing more music.
For 10,000 minutes.
I know. That was Fresh Eyes. Thank you very much, Alex.
Hey, you're welcome.
Next up is News and Notes. So play the song.
It all starts now.
It does all start now. Now, this is an interesting story. So, or at least I hope.
I think that's how they all are.
Those are always that's always what I would say. This is the interesting story. So, a couple days ago, a new player for the Charlotte Hornets released what they got a brochure.
Can you tell me who the Charlotte Hornets are, though?
They're a basketball team out of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
Okay. So the Charlotte Hornets wrote there, and it just says Charlotte Hornets family members.
Yes.
And it says player, name, birthday. Wife, name, birthday. But then girlfriend, name, birthday. And so underneath it goes line for wife and girlfriend. And then someone who works for an NBA team was asked about this, and I just thought this, again, how I love honesty. It's the most brutally honest thing I ever read in my life. It says, the wording on the Hornets questionnaire is bad, but I am sure they didn't expect a player to put it on Instagram. It isn't unusual for players to alert their teams that their wives and girlfriends will be attending the game. We need that information to make sure they are seated as far apart as possible.
Oh my God.
Some players prefer their wives in a suite and their side chick closer to the floor, or vice versa. I know people think this is unusual and had a good laugh at the Hornets' expense, but this happens almost every game. It comes down to the fact that if you're dating a professional athlete,
You gotta expect that.
But it just really proves how much they enable it.
Yeah.
The fact that all the guy has to do is be like, hey, here's the deal. My side chick is here. I want her courtside. But don't put her in the camera because my wife is up with the kids in the box.
Right.
Don't put her on TV because if my wife watches and sees TV, and like there's literally some guy's job who makes probably $35,000 a year, whose job it is to like sit there and be like, okay, well, we'll put her right here so you'll see her when you're making free throws, but she won't be in the thing. And he's like, okay, good.
Yeah.
Like that level of thought is put into this.
Yeah.
Like, and this is, and it's not just NBA players. A very
Oh, no.
close source that I trust very much so talked about that one time a Penguins player was on the road and got some road nookie and got a giant hickey on the side of his neck.
Okay.
And so he was like, dude, I'm married. I cannot go home with a giant hickey. So the training staff did a little cut and a little stitches so that the mark looked like he got a cut like in a fight or a hockey game.
God.
So that when he went to the wife would be like, oh my God, what happened? He's like, yeah, I was playing the Devils and yeah, I got a little cut there, but no big deal. Like that's the level that everyone around the organization does to help the people like make sure that they're getting some side strange.
That's some dedication, though, to cover up a hickey.
Yeah.
You know, if you're, like, willing to get stitches just to cover up a hickey, like, that's dedication.
Well, it just shows you the level to where, like, hey, you've got to make sure that you cover all of your bases because, again, you're a rich guy.
Right.
I think most of them figure that, okay, when I'm playing and I'm in my 20s, I'll be getting the side strange. But once I retire, I have my wife, I have my family, it's all over, whatever.
Right.
Even though I know of several retired athletes who still to this day believe that they can get 21-year-old girls.
Once you do, you can't quit.
Once you get that little taste of,
Yeah.
That's one of the things that like I had one like this comedian, I forget it was, like somebody sat there and like was talking about how all these NFL players are suing the league because I can't do this anymore and I can't I'm losing my cognitive ability and all this other kind of stuff. He's like, you know why they're suing? They're suing because the 30 years of easy pussy just ended.
Oh, jeez.
That's what they're actually suing about. But I mean, like, let me ask you a question. If a female friend of yours dated a professional athlete and came up to you and said, "Oh my God, I just found out Gary's cheating,"
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I would not feel bad.
would you sit there and be like, "Oh, come on"?
Right.
You-
Yeah,
you
that's
would-
exactly how it would be.
Like, okay, Becky's in the camera, and you're just like, Becky. Oh my God, Tony, I just found out he has a side girl in Indianapolis, and I can't believe it. What are you saying to Becky?
I said, no, Becky. What do you expect? What do you expect from doing that?
Yeah, stay away from them. If you don't want.
If you don't want that, stay away from them, or you gotta deal with it.
Because again, remember, you were just one of the dancing girls in Ballers. That's
Yeah.
how you met him.
You were that woman once.
Yeah.
And now it's happening to you. Sorry, Becky.
Yeah. I just love white girl names. Anyways, speaking of white girl names, Stormy Daniels.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun. Stormy Daniels update. So Stormy Daniels wrote a book, or like someone wrote a book of her talking, or whatever they did.
Okay.
I hardly doubt that she like got a felt pen and was like, "This is my life."
I believe it.
What they do, this is weird. They actually they interviewed Artie Lang.
Okay.
And Artie Lang has technically written 2 books. And he goes, you don't write books. There's a guy who like his job is he hooks up with a celebrity.
Like a ghostwriter.
And it's not even he's on the cover. He's like with Dave Roberts.
Yeah.
And what Dave Roberts does is Dave Roberts sits there and interviews you essentially and turns it into something where it sounds like it's in your voice.
Yeah, and then you look at it and you're like, yeah, okay, cool.
That's why like it was one of the weirdest things ever is when Charles Barkley wrote his autobiography and he was misquoted, he said 4 times. And they're like, it's your biography. It's your autobiography.
Right.
How did you get misquoted in your autobiography? Hint, hint, he didn't write the damn thing.
Yeah.
So Stormy Daniels wrote, and the big story that everyone talked about was that she described Donald Trump's penis.
Ooh.
And basically said that Donald Trump's penis looked like the mushroom character in Super Mario Brothers.
Do you think even if it didn't look like that, she would describe it any other way?
Have you ever described a man that eventually you despise as saying like, oh, but is he packing? Like, oh no, he's got a beautiful body. He's just a horrible human being. Or would you lie and be like, he's not that great?
No, I'm a very truthful person with penises.
With penises, you would sit there and be like, he's a jerk, but he's packing heat.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're a compassionate person. That's
Because maybe someone else wants, a jerk, but someone who's packing heat.
Now, but the thing is that she was interviewed by Australian 60 Minutes because, again, Australian 60 Minutes gets Stormy Daniels 6 months after everyone else does.
Right.
And they sit there and they go, so you described Donald Trump's penis as just like the mushroom in freaking Super Mario Brothers. And she sits there and goes, yeah, I kind of feel bad that I did that. And she's like, why? And she goes, well, it's kind of body shaming. Well, here's the thing. No, it's not kind of body shaming. It's totally body shaming.
Yeah.
You're completely making fun of his body.
Yeah.
And nobody cares.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you sit there and you feel bad because you're making fun of Donald Trump's genitalia, guess what? Too late. I love how she sits there
Unless
and goes,
it was not honest.
like if he was like insanely like, dude, he is. But that wouldn't other women that he went out with probably be coming out saying, no, this guy was insanely jacked and he was like literally like had a python in his pants.
I can't see people doing that now if it was him. Other people like
that's what I'm saying. Like
person.
he's been with a bunch of different women. Now they did say that Melania was very upset that his genitalia was discussed in the book.
Oh,
very upset.
I'm sure.
Yes,
I would be upset too.
especially
If
it
someone
wasn't
knew
true.
that my husband had a terrible penis.
I didn't say it was a terrible penis. It just said it was a
little mushroom penis.
It was a little mushroom penis. So, but yeah, absolutely, it was totally body shaming. So I think own it. You were body shaming. That's just kind of what happened. Speaking of people that body shame, I don't even know what that means. Sharon Osbourne has quit or been let go or fired. It depends on who you ask. The English version of The X Factor.
Oh, shucks.
I know. Now, here's why it's funny. So she was on Howard Stern, and they asked her, it goes, in a controversial interview with Howard Stern last month, may have hastened her departure. When the radio host asked her why she didn't do the audition segments of The X Factor, Osbourne responded, oh, fuck, I don't have those kids singing in my face, those little shits, they all suck. It was like, hey, what is this, fucking karaoke? And then also she said that Simon Cowell is a pain in the ass who will do anything to get his fat fucking face on TV.
Oh.
And so maybe that's why she was fired.
Yeah, I'd say so. Man.
But here's my thing about it. First off, she's being honest because, yeah, kids suck. They just
Yeah.
know. Most of them are just basically. That's one thing about, when I was out in Los Angeles, I was at the Laugh Factory. I did a set, and they have, the Laugh Factory does, a reach-out thing where they talk, they have kids.
Okay.
And they have literally, 12-year-old kids that are doing stand-up.
That's cute.
Yeah, but honestly, it's like
Not in that situation.
Here's my thing about it is I don't. Do you really want to get a 12-year-old into stand-up? That's a very dark world.
I think I'd have to, yeah. But yeah.
But the problem is that Tiffany Haddish started in that program, and now she's one of the giant stars in the world. So now every stage mom in Los Angeles is sitting there going, you're going to do stand-up comedy because you're going to be the new Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah.
And the thing is they went up and they did their set, but it was from a classic stand-up set, they didn't do well. But
Right.
if you Like, put it of like, okay, they're 12 years old. How good would my set been at 12 years old?
Right.
They did outstanding.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing in a sense of like these singers. Like Sharon Osbourne actually like manages acts and managed Ozzy Osbourne. And to her, she's like, no, these people are terrible. They're not good singers. But everyone else kind of goes, you know what? For an 11-year-old girl,
right, yeah,
she's a pretty good singer.
Yeah, it has potential.
Yeah, which brings up the fact that Michael Jackson, if you listen to like the Jackson 5,
yeah,
again, I'm kind of bringing up something that everybody knows. Holy crap, was that kid talented?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll sound like that when you're like, I think he was like 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, holy crap, that guy had talent.
Yeah, I agree.
One of the dumbest statements ever. Michael Sasson says Michael Jackson had talent at 9.
What?
But yeah, you're going to get fired if you say that you're the producer of the show. He just wants to get his fat fucking face on television. Which
Yeah.
this is the funny thing that Simon Cowell said. They asked her, he goes, are you done with Sharon Osbourne? He goes, words don't hurt me. I don't care. I'd work with her again.
Yeah.
Because all he cares about is money. One of the greatest interviews of all time, and one of the most, you talk about just blunt human beings, was when 60 Minutes interviewed Simon Cowell.
Yeah.
And he got so upset because he got a $100 million contract from the record deal.
Okay.
But at the same time, they gave Bruce Springsteen $100 million. And so he looked at the camera and they go, someone said you were upset with the fact that Bruce Springsteen got $100 million. He goes, damn right I was upset.
Yeah.
He goes, why is that? He goes, he doesn't make it nearly the money I make for that record company. Because the guy's over. The guy doesn't make any successful records anymore. They just gave him $100 million because he made a bunch of good albums 30 years ago.
Right.
I make good albums today.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like all those American Idol people, Simon Cowell owned those people. And so, like, again, he owned all the records. He owned all the songs. He made those record companies millions.
Right.
And for them to, And so, again, I love the fact that he's like, no, I'd work with her again. If she makes me money, I don't care.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, again, brutal, but honest, which I do respect. Moving on, we all want to live to be 100 years old.
Yes.
And so when there was an interview with a group of people that are currently 100 years old, I thought it was an interesting thing that you want to go through and figure out what it takes to be a person who is now 100 years old. So they interviewed a bunch of, I guess the word is centenarians or whatever the name is or whatever. And this is a bunch of what these old people said that is a reason why they live to be over 100 years old. 112-year-old Ellen Gribb said, good genes, no drinking, no smoking, plenty of exercise, and butter.
Boo.
112-year-old Masa Nakarano said, soaking hot springs, eating sweets. 112-year-old Isabella Castillo said, going with the flow.
Aw.
111-year-old Richard Overton said, 12 cigars a day, 4 glasses of whiskey in the morning, butter pecan ice cream every night.
That guy sounds great.
110-year-old Agnes Felton said, 3 bottles of Miller High Life and a glass of whiskey daily. 109-year-old Ruth Benjamin said, 4 strips of bacon every morning. 105-year-old Pearl Kentrell said, bacon with every meal. 104, Mildred Bauer said, beer. 105-year-old Jack Reynolds, whiskey with tea in the morning, whiskey with lemonade at night. 103-year-old Emil Young said, peanut butter, M&Ms, bacon, eggs, and ice cream. 103-year-old Vincent Barata said, eating once a day, lots of women. 100-year-old Ephraim Engelman said, falling in love, getting married, having sex. And 100-year-old Doris Olive Nutting said, daily pint of Guinness.
I feel like everyone just listed the worst thing that they do in their life that, like, they're still alive even though they do that.
I think, to be honest, they just don't know why they're still alive, and they just basically sit there.
How would they know?
They just, why are you still alive? I didn't die.
Yeah, I have no idea. But this is shit that I do that's probably not good for me, but I'm still alive even though
One of the
it.
One of the funniest things that ever happened to me was my grandfather, when he was like 91, 92 years old, came to visit us. And he came to visit us with our uncle, his son. And he just came with the uncle and son. And so he shows up, and he was like, well, we're going to take you out. Let's go for a steak dinner.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, okay, that's nice. You're going to take us for a steak dinner. So we go to this nice steak restaurant, and my grandpa, 91 years old, orders the biggest steak, gets a thing of whiskey, drinking beer, all this kind of stuff. And, like, he kept on saying to my uncles, don't tell your grandma, don't tell your mother, don't tell your mother. I don't think he necessarily wanted to visit us in Pittsburgh. I just think he used it as an excuse to go out and get like steak and eggs and whiskey and stuff like that. Because I think at that point, my grandmother was like stopping him from doing it.
Yeah.
And so he was just trying to figure out ways. And the one way he could figure out, I have to visit the family in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I have to go do this. And I always thought it was hilarious. Like, he's already 91. He fought in World War II. He was an engineer. He ran his own company. Let him drink some freaking whiskey. Who cares?
Right.
He lived to be 94. If I live to be 94, I'll do cartwheels down freaking, Millvale. Now, granted,
can you do a cartwheel now?
I can't. If I'm 94,
By that time you'll learn.
By that time, I'll just keep practicing. But again, I think really, like you said, no one knows why someone lives to be 94. I guess you just don't die. That's the number one way that you kind of figure out if you're 104. Here are then the top 10 things that centenarians say help them live to be 100. This is the top 10. 29% said ignore traditional dietary advice.
Okay.
25% said eat a healthy diet. So, who's right? I don't know.
What is healthy?
Yeah. 22% said stay active. 18% said keep a positive attitude. 16% said drink alcohol regularly. 12% said abstain from alcohol. 10% said maintain a meaningful relationship. 9% get good night's sleep. 9% said be nice to others. And another 9% said have faith.
I think mine would be like balance.
Mine would be, I would sit there and say that mine would be have a purpose. Like, I really, there's two stories that are kind of parallel in the football world, and that was Bear Bryant and Joe Paterno.
Mm-hmm.
Both died 3 months after they coached their last game.
Right. I totally agree with that, because you see people all the time who retire, and as soon as they don't have, like, that thing that they do every day and that purpose, then, yeah, they'd, like, start immediately going downhill. So I would agree with that.
See, I think it is. It's just, like, purpose. Like, for instance, one purpose that I would have is to not be at a party where they have 77 cans of natural light.
I don't know why that's your thing.
I don't know.
I would love to go to this party.
I know. I'm just trying to make up a segue. So there's a new thing. Natural Light is come out with a giant bucket in which there are 77 beers in the bucket. Now, here's the thing. It's only available currently in College Park, Maryland.
That's probably the best place for it.
Why is that? Have you ever been to College Park, Maryland?
No.
But you're just saying a college campus.
Yes.
I would say that Natty Light was one of our go-to beers when we were in college.
Yeah, yeah.
You're looking for cheap, high alcohol content. Natural Light was pretty there. Natty Ice was our other one.
Yeah, Natty Ice was a lot more of what I did.
Yeah, but 77 beers.
I mean, that's pretty good. You can
Yeah.
get 2 of those and,
You and your
feed your
roommate
whole
would
family.
Feed your whole family. Kill your whole family. What was your usual drinking like Saturday night when you were in college? How much would you drink? When would you start drinking? What would be your thing?
How much would I drink?
Like, what would be the game plan? Like, my game plan was always split a 30-pack with, like, me and maybe 2 other dudes just to get a base. Then we would go to, like, the bars because we wanted to have, like, a good base going so we didn't get too many drinks at, like, the bar where it costs more. And then eventually you'd end up at, like, a house or a frat or something like that, and then that would be, like, a typical Saturday night. What was it for Alex?
It would depend on what year, because my years were all very different. I'll tell you freshman year, because that's probably the most exciting year of my college career.
Why was
sadly.
freshman year your most exciting?
I think I drank the most.
Okay, you just
didn't care enough.
You just dove right into college.
Yeah. So typically on like Saturday nights, we were obviously not 21, so we had people buy us alcohol, and I actually just found all of these alcohol bottles. I kept them because memories.
I know.
I don't know.
That's something you do when you're 18 years old. Like, there's always the person that has like a window filled with Jack Daniel's bottles.
Yeah, except I didn't put them anywhere. They were just in bags that I had in my room at home, just for no reason. And I just found them like a couple weeks ago and had to get rid of them.
I recycle them and buy more beer.
But it was mainly Burnett's, every single flavored rum and vodka that you could think of, and then some tequila just on like special nights.
Okay.
So we get a bunch of those. We never really had beer though, because no one could buy us beer, because we were downtown and there's no beer downtown.
There's no beer downtown?
Well, there's a beer distributor now, but there wasn't when I was in school.
See, that's when now you know we're becoming a major A-level city, is because now there is more beer downtown.
Yeah, but we just had alcohol, and I mean, I think that mainly our routine every time before we went out is we would get dressed, we would start drinking while we were getting dressed, and then we would take.
When would this start? What time?
I'd say maybe probably 7 o'clock, because it would be when we would get done eating dinner.
All right.
Come back and start drinking.
7 o'clock, start
yeah.
drinking.
So
Get
we
a bass.
get ready.
Start
and
playing
then-
the music. Start getting hyped.
Yep, and then we take 70,000 webcam photos of ourselves while we were drinking.
Those probably still exist out there, too.
Oh, they do, yeah. That was a big thing for us in college. I don't know why, but I have a million of them. And then we play some kind of drinking game, and then usually go out to whatever party.
Where would you like to go to Pitt's campus or Duquesne or
We'd
something?
go to South. Well, a lot of times we go to South Oakland. A lot of Point Park kids live there, so there'd be the rugby house and the Copa house and different houses and stuff like that, where mainly the people that lived in there were people that were rugby players or that thing. The rugby house was always a little crazy though.
A little crazy.
Or sometimes we'd go to a frat in Pitt called Pi Lam.
Mm-hmm.
You ever go there?
No, I didn't go anywhere near Pitt.
It was. I like to describe it.
I did not know any name of the frat. I just knew I was in a frat. If someone would have come up to me on Monday and go, "Hey, I saw you at Delta Child, whatever," and I'd be like, "I don't know what the fuck I was."
This was the best frat ever, because it was kind of like all of the rejects, from all of the other frats. Guys who thought that all the other frats were too douchey, so they just made their own, so that they could drink with a bunch of other dudes.
Yeah, there was Delta House and Animal House.
Yeah. So that was it, and it was amazing.
There you go. That's the whole point.
And we'd go there, and I would go, if they were out of beer, I would go around the house and find all the half-empty ones and drink those.
Okay, that's.
I'm still alive. I'm going to say that when I'm 100.
Yeah, that'll be your answer for how you stayed up to your life. He goes, "What do you? I drank a bunch of floaters. That's what I drank." Now, our final story today is, Alex, I feel sorry for you, because I think that you would have liked to have possibly met this man.
I bet I would.
This man is known as Italy's most famous playboy.
Oh.
Mario Zanfrati has passed away
Oh, no.
at the age of 63 while having sex with a 23-year-old tourist.
That's amazing.
Mario Zanfrati, popularly known as Romeo of Rimini, slept with more than 6,000 women after becoming famous as a nightclub promoter in the beachside city back in the 70s.
I'm sorry, but who the hell knows how many people he slept with?
Apparently, he kept track.
I guess, but you could
Can't
just
fib.
write things down.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can write down anything. Yeah, it's all ball bearings. Anyways, so apparently he has 6,000. So he was having sex with a 23-year-old. This is pretty much his obituary. Is he had sex with a 23-year-old, which is pretty cool.
Just amazing.
Would you have sex with someone that was 40 years older than you?
Yes. Sorry, I didn't think about that very much.
Yeah, because it's true. You would just say yes. But by the way, okay.
I mean, if it was this guy, I don't know. I mean, he's not that attractive looking, but he might woo me.
Well, here was his job, just so you know. It says his job was to chat to young women in the street and persuade them to come inside the club. With olive skin, long flowing locks, and a fashionable chest wig, he faced little problem in doing so. He would boast that in a successful summer in his prime, he slept with around 200 women.
What was his prime if he's 63 and sleeping with 23-year-olds?
Probably in the 70s sometime. So, okay, let's say in 1970, so that was almost 50 years ago. He says he started when he was 17 years old.
Oh, man.
So let's do the math. 17 minus 63.
I don't do math.
Okay, 53 and then 46. So 46 years. I don't know. Math sucks. Anyway, so probably back in the 70s. Okay. Anyways, Zanfrati spent his winters in Scandinavia working for tourist agencies. His exploits became so famous that some of his lovers erected a wax statue to him in a Swedish town.
That's amazing.
In 1986, an Italian newspaper named Zanfrati Italy's most successful lover. In his final interview with a German newspaper in 2004, he announced his retirement, saying, "At 59, I'm getting too old for it." Clearly, he failed to keep his word as he died having sex with a 23-year-old tourist.
Why would you say that you were?
That's
You're
like we're talking about
retiring from it.
why would like Cher say that she's retiring?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would definitely. I feel like everyone would be like, "Oh my God, he's retiring!" Like now
Now
the
you
time.
really need to bang him.
Yeah. He was just like having a little lull, so he said he was retiring.
But here's the thing about it, and put the picture back up.
Okay.
You're seeing this gentleman.
Yes.
He's 63 years old.
He doesn't look 63 in this
He
photo.
clearly looks not young.
Yeah, but he doesn't look 63.
What does 63 look like?
I don't know. I would guess him to be 52.
Okay.
55.
All
I
right.
don't know.
Okay, whatever. Still older than 23.
Yes.
Okay, and here would be my thing. If it'd almost be like if you missed seeing Elton John and you found him passed away 2 months later. It'd be like, oh, would you be like, oh, I can't believe I couldn't have sex with this guy who looks like an auto mechanic in New Jersey?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how it would be.
Again, when you sit there and say, I don't know anything about women.
He's a legend.
He's a legend. Would you have sex with someone even though they were completely, like, had no... First off, he had to have some disease. You're accepting some disease with that much women. Eventually, he caught something.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe 6,000 women. He dodged 6,000 bullets.
I don't know.
It didn't say he must have owned a condom factory if he got through 6,000 without
That's
getting anything.
true.
But, like, that should be the book. Forget that he had sex with a 23-year-old. If he dodged all STDs throughout the age of, like, HIV and all that kind of stuff to eventually die of a heart attack. Most people did not think he was going to die of a heart attack, even though probably with that much sex. Imagine if it was, like, one of those things like in The Natural where, like, the doctor came up to him and be like, here's the deal. If you have sex with one more woman, your heart will give out.
Yeah.
And he just saw this woman and he's just like,
Gotta do it.
Gotta do it.
This is my way to go out.
Gotta do it. It's like the old joke that Richard Pryor told. His dad died when he was having sex with an 18-year-old. And he goes, he was coming and going at the same moment.
Oh, jeez.
There you go. The great Richard Pryor.
I feel like this guy had to have... He's probably like an extremely charismatic person. You know what I mean? Like, even though he doesn't look the best, he had to have been just extremely charismatic. And you're just like... You know how you hear about, like, all the serial killers, and they're like, oh, but...
You just hear about all the serial killers. You're comparing him to a serial killer.
And you're like, why would any of these women, like, be close to these people? And they're like, well, they're very charismatic, you know? Even if they
what makes a
fucking
man
weird.
charismatic?
I don't know.
Have you ever met a man that you would say, that is a charismatic man?
I don't know.
You would know if you met a charismatic man.
I'm trying to think.
I don't think you have met a charismatic man.
I don't. I'm
I have
thinking
not
about
met a
it
charismatic
in
man.
very many terms, I guess.
Here's what makes a man charismatic. If he's got the confidence because he's got the dough and he knows what he's doing in the sack, and so he's got the vibe to where he's like, you're gonna have a good time with me. Trust me, we're gonna eat well. You're gonna go to my
But
great
I think
place.
you could be charismatic without having those things.
If you met a poor, charismatic human being, you find me. I don't care where I am in this world. If you find a poverty-stricken, charismatic man who constantly gets girls, okay, then I will...
I'm not saying poverty-stricken, but I'm saying not having, like, a ton of cash, you know. I think they can still be charismatic.
Find me a charismatic... I want you to find me a charismatic man, people.
Okay.
Find me... I want to interview the most charismatic man.
You're saying two different things. You want the most charismatic
I just
man,
want to
or
visit...
you just want
I just want to speak to
charismatic
a
man?
person who believes that they are charismatic.
Okay.
Because I believe I am one of the most electrifying performers in the world. And I'm not
You're
charismatic.
not saying... Okay.
I'm an electric performer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. You hate me.
Electric.
Electric.
Because you blow up the electrics in the microphones.
There you go. Microphone, saxophone. Anyways, that was News and Notes. So thank you very much to everybody out there in Internet Radio Land.
Do you want to read some comments?
Certainly, because we have our last segment called Comment Your Ass Off. And so, Alex, play the theme song.
Say hello to the world. Say hello to the
So here we go. It's Comment Your Ass Off. If you watch the live broadcast on Monday on Facebook Live, you can comment away, and we'll comment with you. Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry. Computer's being stupid.
No, the computer is not charismatic, is what it's coming down to.
Sam asked if we have any other podcasts for the viewers on the West Coast. I don't know why that would matter.
Like, I guess, you could keep watching. If you're a West Coast one and you're like, oh, I missed it, you'll just watch it, just rewind.
Some other time.
Yeah, that's the great thing about, that's why when people sit there, I know of people that listen and watch this on car trips and, like, have listened to, like, 5 of our shows at like, during a long car trip. I don't care how you listen or how you watch.
Yeah.
So just enjoy. That's what we're about.
I can't listen to myself talk for an hour and a half on a road trip.
Some people love it. Some people love the sound of your voice, Alex.
Yeah, but I don't personally.
Okay.
It makes me want to fall asleep.
Okay, because you're just that. You don't feel that you have an exciting voice?
I know what my voice sounds like. I'm like, okay, Alex, like, I know you feel all of these things.
Because it's me.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Sam said, I'm not going to paint with a broad brush. I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
Yeah, he's not
Is that an expression?
Yeah, you're not going to paint with a broad brush.
What does that mean?
It means I'm not going to make a giant statement.
Oh, okay.
I do all the time, which is what makes me me. But go ahead.
Right. Nick said, I think Louis is just easing his way back in. In a year or so, he'll have an hour special where he'll address everything, make it funny in his way, and make the comeback complete. Everyone gets a second chance, and he definitely will too. He's too talented to go away forever. That's what Nick thinks.
I still think he needs to have kind of his Oprah interview moment and really explain to the world exactly what the hell he was thinking.
I don't want it to be Oprah, but that would be nice.
But somebody. How about Alex? Alex, you should interview Louis.
Yes.
What would be your first question to Louis?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Okay. Well, sorry I put you on the spot.
Why haven't you brought it up yet?
Okay. Next week, I want you to have your interview questions for Louis.
What do you eat for breakfast every morning?
Okay. That's your first question.
I think that would it might tell us something.
But you have to sit there and say it like in a more profound way. Like you'd be like, Louis, what do you have for breakfast every morning?
No.
That's how you would do it.
Not my style.
What is your style?
I would just ask a bunch of questions very quickly.
Yes.
Like and a bunch of very random questions very quickly. Like, what do you eat for breakfast? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite dog? What have you been doing in the past year?
And then
why did you masturbate in front of people?
And then he'd be like, okay, let's take the first one first. Rice Krispies. And then just kind of go from there.
Right.
Yeah. Any other comments? Is the computer being silly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I apologize for that.
Sam says, do you watch the after show with Heather and Rick on Facebook Live?
Yes, every day. I don't even know what the.
Oh, I was gonna say I don't know who those people are.
We have an app. We should have a Mike Sasson Show after show with just like 2 other random people.
I was gonna say this show is almost 2 hours long. Mm-hmm. Having an after show afterwards to talk about what we just talked about for 2 hours. Oh my God,
that's what Howard Stern has. Howard Stern has the after show.
But Howard Stern is also Howard Stern.
Yeah, well, I'm me, and that's pretty good too.
Right. Yeah. But who in our after show? Like, who would be the people?
I bet
they would just. I don't think we would be in it.
No.
I think they would just discuss what we talked about.
Exactly.
So who would they be?
We'd find some other comedians. I'll find some people at an open mic. Be like, would you like to be part of the Mike Sasson after show?
What if they just say a bunch of bad things about us? Though.
Great. Who cares? Then we fire them immediately. But again, we'd have to find again like a separate 2 people who would just, and all they could do is discuss what we discussed.
Yeah.
They'd be in the other room writing notes, and then we'd go from there.
Let's do it.
You seem nervous.
I think we should do it.
Yes, we'll develop the Mike Sasson Show after show.
It needs to be the super charismatic people.
Yes, only super charismatic people in electric
and they make
performers.
Everyone fall in love with us even more.
There you go. That's how just in love with ourselves we are. We want people to have a show after a 2-hour show of what we said.
Yeah. Also, Drew Brees is the all-time passing leader with 71,968 yards.
Congratulations to Drew Brees for that achievement.
We've been waiting for that news.
Yep.
That's it.
There you go. Thank you very much to everyone. Nearly a 2-hour show, so if you've been listening to us the whole time,
good for you. You
Good.
have no life.
Yeah. Hey, you have a life. Your life is the Mike Sasson Show. And here's the thing, Alex. You got to realize I get so many, especially middle-aged dudes, that are really a giant fan of listening to you and learning the insides of a beautiful, charismatic, young, professional broadcaster / producer and how it makes her tick.
Oh,
You have no response to that?
I don't know.
There you go.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, thank you to the River's Edge. Keep listening to the River's Edge at www.riversedgepgh.com. My name's Mike Sass. We'll be home. We'll be there next week, which is probably like in 10 minutes since the show's been so long. Anyways, we'll see you. Bye.